would have done day one, you would have had the repetitions. And the repetitions is going to improve the quality. Rather than having something be perfect that took a month to perfect, that study about those students were the photography, the pictures, the photographers. You don't know about the study? It was in Atomic Habits. They gave the students the assignment. They said, okay, you get an A+ you'll pass the class if you have a perfect photo. So one group of students were assigned to take as many pictures as possible. The other group of students were assigned to get one picture, and it had to be perfect. They could have the whole 14 weeks to get that beautiful, perfect picture. Who do you think had the perfect picture and got the best grades? The ones who had to take 100 pictures. Because through every repetition, they were able to refine and develop and grow. So do it now, and then just boom, boom, boom.
Good Bad Breakthrough, episode 32. We got Drew,
Dreya,
Keena. What's up, y'all?
There it is. Hey, y'all.
Hey,
I miss y'all.
Man,
me too.
big missings. This long overdue.
Mm-hmm.
The three of us. This is 23 years of friendship right here.
Yeah.
24 now. 24?
Yes.
Are we going on 24?
Maybe.
I mean, school did just start for the kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
Back to school for the babies. Well,
Yeah.
here they go into their next year of school. We in the back to school season.
How does it feel?
Let me see here. Jason put the question mark. You said, how does it feel like with the kids going back to school?
Yeah, how do y'all feel?
Dreya?
Well, even though Alicia has chosen to stay home, I feel like there's still a part of me like that kind of just departed because that's my baby. And now she's growing up and like venturing off doing her own thing, and she's in college now. It just feels a little bit weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like I have, Caleb just went back to school. He just started his first day of second grade today, which second grade for him kind of feels like first grade because last year was his first year of school for the pandemic babies. They didn't really get a kindergarten in 2020.
Mm.
In 2020, they didn't really have kindergarten. So first grade was their first actual year of school. Because virtual classes for kindergarten is like kind of a joke to think about expecting them to be present for that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then with my older son, Kayshawn, he's going off to college on Saturday. We're dropping him off. Well, me and him are going up there to drop him off on Saturday. And, I think it's like, it's something like, I was in therapy today. My therapist was like asking me, she's like, how are you feeling? And I was like, I feel like it's interesting, I mean, Caleb, he expressed to me the other day that he's not ready to see Kayshawn leave. He's going to miss his big brother. They share a room together. Caleb watches his brother a lot. He imitates his brother a lot. And so he was just like, he was like, I had a dream and I'm not ready for Kayshawn to leave. I'm going to miss him. Mm-hmm. Right. And so then my therapist was like, okay. And I was like, and Kayshawn, he's excited about going off to school, and exploring what it's like to have more independence. She was like, okay. She's like, so I want to circle back because I see what you did there. You talked about everybody else's feelings except yours. I see you. So how are you feeling? And I was like, dang, I did do that, didn't I? And so I was like, I feel a few things. I feel proud of, Kayshawn for getting here, right, to this point that he's made it to so far. I feel proud of him for that. I can feel his excitement. I feel that. And so I'm excited because he's excited. And then I was like, and then me, I feel proud of myself, I feel proud of myself because of course, like as a mother, as a single mother, I'm like, man, Kayshawn, I was 15 years old when I got pregnant with him. I was a freshman in high school entering into sophomore. He was born when I was a sophomore in high school. His dad has been in prison most of his life. He's in prison. He's locked up right now. You know what I mean? And so I've been holding it down, right? I've been doing my thing, taking care of my boy, raising him. And I recognize, and so I was telling her, I was like, I recognize that being, the presence and being the support that your kid needs you to be, it's going to look different for your kid at different stages in their lives. It's going to look different for them based upon, like the different parts of the journey. And so whatever my standards or expectations that I have for myself, is gonna, I have my own standards and expectations, but then I realize like the things, like the way that I am showing up for him and supporting him, I'm like, okay, I am doing a good job. I thought that I was supposed to be doing something different or, better, whatever that means. But I'm like, I'm looking at him and I recognize like that he has peace. He has guidance. Like he has support. He's getting to his milestones. I don't always know how we're going to get there, but I'm like, okay, like if I compare myself to a 2-parent household or a household that has both parents involved, because those are two different things, right? A 2-parent household and a household where 2 parents are involved. It's not like for me to compare because every household is going to look different, So I'm like, okay, some households have different financial means. Some households have different levels of where their kids are going, different distances, everything. There's so many different things, right? So it's like, I can only be like, wow, let me pat myself on the back because like he got here and I did the guiding and the facilitating to get him here, And so I'm like, okay, like let me be proud of myself.
As you should.
Yeah. So I feel like that. I'm like, wow, I think I'm proud of myself. I'm excited for him. I'm thankful that I can provide the support that he needs. And then my therapist was like, and then you can be intentional about how you cultivate the relationship with him being gone. Cause I'm like, nobody in my family, I don't know what this college dorm experience is like, kid moving out of the house for college. This is new for my whole family. And so she was like, so when he goes off to school, you talk to him about, don't just talk to him about like the parenting things, the mothering, don't just mother, but still also like see how life is for him. And tell him how life is for you, so like that you guys can like your relationship can continue to grow and develop as he grows, because that's one of the things that's important to me is like I want to be intentional about the relationship I cultivate with my children, as I try to still like have time and space for me too, as my own individual self. So I don't, so I don't get lost, the same thing that I've been telling other people. I've been trying to protect that for me too. I don't want to be lost. Yeah. I don't want to look up and be like, oh my God, my kids are gone off to school and I don't even know who I am. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. This was just today in therapy. Me and my therapist like dissected and analyzed these things. Yeah.
What about you, Andrew?
Yeah.
What are you
it's coming, Andrew on the pod, y'all. Yeah, it's so. All right, so I'm gonna share a brief story. So, Alicia's about to go to school come Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I know her schedule. I know her availability. I unintentionally, as I feel like a lot of people would do, parenting, start creating these narratives for myself. Baby girl going to school, she's going to college, she's going to be even more busy. I'm not going to see her as often. She's going to be spending time with her friends. She's going to be making new friends. She's going to be connecting. It's like, bye-bye, Dad. And I don't even know if I shared this with Andrea, but Monday afternoon, I had a business meeting at Liberty Station. Is it Liberty Station?
Rimrock or like
Rimrock Road. Alicia called me. Hey, baby. You're like, what's up? You got any wants or needs? Like, how you feeling? Like, what's going on? I know it's your first day of school. Congratulations. And she's like, yeah, like, I want to see if you want to grab lunch. Me? Like, yeah, I want to grab lunch. Like, let's go. I'm about to do a meeting, but and I know who this person is and had a relationship for a long time. And I asked her if she could come. She was like, yeah, it'd be my pleasure, to bring your daughter. So she meets us, and I was just telling Alicia how special I felt that my daughter who again we had when we were 15 years old. On the first day of college, she called her dad and see if we can go get some lunch. So, okay, cool. Then another day comes by and she gets home and she's like, Dad, what are you doing today? I was like, oh, I'm running around with Ace. I got this going on. Do you want to come? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay. Then today comes around and I'm cleaning the house and, I just got done feeding Ace some breakfast and he's very efficient with independent play after he eats. So he did some independent play and Alicia calls and say, hey, like, what do you got going on? I'm like, oh, I'm cleaning the house, getting ready for the cookout and making sure we're good to go. I want to create less stress in the house. Andrea talked about having like new beginnings in our household. And she just stepped up, got home, like got Asen dressed, brushed his teeth, took her brother to go get their haircut while I just masterminded the house and we ended up going to get lunch again. And it's interesting because here I am as a parent being so nervous and scared, of losing my child. Losing child one, then child two, Anthony, losing him again, getting lost in the sauce. And then me going back to Asen, from last year, and this like self-inflicted anxiety that I was getting of just continually thinking. But just to see Alicia be present in the moment and even spending more time with us as family. She's been in the park more times with Andrea and I and Asen this week alone than probably like the last month. And it's been beautiful. And even having a conversation with Alicia, like, hey, like, how long do you plan on like living here before you move out? She's like, not long. And I was like, not long, like a couple of months or like a couple of years. She's like, a couple of years. I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, and then when you leave, like, how far away do you want to live? And she was like, I want to live far enough away to where I could still come see you guys. I was like, you think like an hour, 2 hours? She was like, oh, no, Dad, like 30 minutes.
And I think that's going to change. I really think that's going to change after her first couple of years of college.
It may. But again, just like her mental space where she's at now, knowing that when she grows up, when she goes to a different school, she wants us to be on the other side of town because she wants to be able to just stop by. Going back to what you said, it's like we've built and developed this healthy and unique relationship with our children where we're afraid, like, these things are happening, but we're so connected and they're demonstrating that connection. It's like we did bleep me out, Jason, a phenomenal job. We were all 15 or 16 when we had our first kids, and I was telling Alicia this the other day when I was in her bedroom, like, hey, like, there's nothing you could or couldn't do that wouldn't make me more or less proud of you because I'm so proud of you. Like, I couldn't imagine being a child of Andrea and Andrew, like with our mindsets, with our goals, with our visions, with the things that we push ourselves to do. We definitely push our kids, and it's just special. I've really appreciated the back to school moments. I feel like it, instead of us getting lost in the sauce, we've all gotten closer because of school.
Yeah.
And it's that change that we all fear. And then we just all dove into it and everyone just came together as a family. So I was really nervous. I was really sad and I had a lot of anxiety, but it's like after this first week, I mean, we're only 4 days in.
Yeah.
but the 4 days in has me feeling like, wow, like just it feels really fulfilling to see the team come together.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I was more sad about her leaving during graduation because I didn't know what was to come because she was still back and forth about where she wanted to go. And she got, like I tell people, she got accepted into all these colleges and she didn't choose any of them. And so I was like, okay, well, whatever you decide, we support you. And then in the process of her enrolling in classes and trying to figure things out, she leaned on me heavily. So it was a lot of her asking me questions, a lot of me helping her pull her schedule together. A lot of her saying, Mom, do you know this person or do you know who I can talk to for this? And so I didn't feel so out of the loop with her making decisions. It was just she's making the decision. She's asking me about it. And so I know I know where she's going with it. So I
Mhm.
wasn't always like, oh my God, what she's gonna do next? What is she gonna do next? It was just, okay, Mom, do you know anybody that does this? Okay, Mom, can you help me with this? And so once the help came, I was like, okay, she's asking the questions, she's good.
Yeah.
She's good. And so I was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I think the thing that I take away from all of this, like even as I was reflecting this morning, is just like, a lot of time it's kind of like the same thing where a lot of areas in life where it's like, okay, you know where you want to go or what you're trying to do. You don't necessarily know how you're going to get there, and it doesn't even matter how, as long as you know that you're that it's going to work out, you know what I mean? And it always does, because that's where your mind is set for. And so it's like the details will always work themselves out. And I feel like life and time continuously shows us these things over and over and over again. And so, like sometimes I have to remind myself that, like life and time always shows me that. So like, a conversation or a mantra and affirmation that I have had to come back to throughout the summer is, if he ain't worried, why am I going to be worried? If he ain't stressed, why am I going to be stressed? Right?
I like
You know what I mean? Because I'm like, okay, we need this, and this. And then I was like, why am I getting all of this? Is it me who really, some of it is, because some of it is like, I'm like, I know how I book up. I know how my schedule is booked, and I want to be intentional about having the proper dates on the calendar. But then also it's like, hey, like, some of this like external, me internalizing external, like, pressures or anxieties, and internalizing that, like, okay, I guess I should be like that too. And I'm like, but I'm not like that. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm like, okay, well, hey, if we forget something, Amazon Prime.
Right.
100%.
Okay, you'll get it in 2 days, right? Like, because guess what? Because this is my therapist a couple of weeks ago. She said, instead of you trying to do all of the, instead of you trying to boop, 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 just ask your son, be like, so what is your plan? And start getting him thinking about that. Like, ask him what his plan. So I was like, and she was like, and then it's not on you. Well, if it doesn't go or goes whatever a certain way, because I was like, I want him to have an amazing experience. But that's also like me trying to control it. You know what I mean? So she was like, why don't you ask him what is his plan? And then you just support whatever his plan is. And if he does or doesn't have a plan, well, now he has the responsibility of figuring that out instead of you doing that. So I was like, okay, what is your plan, son? And then he had like a little something, and then it developed over the next time, as time came about. And I did not have to put that intensity on him because he was able to manage it. You know what I mean?
And see, sometimes I'm asking Alicia what her plan is, but Alicia already is thinking about her plan like a whole month in advance before we get to the point. Yeah. She's like, okay, so this is what I had planned for, and I'd be like, okay, she's already been working on it.
Yeah.
So then she comes with this long list, and she's like, well, we can get this done first, this done second, and this can be last. This isn't important, but it's on the list. So
I love, because then it allows you to say, okay, this is your plan. So how can I? So I thought that the thing that's at the bottom of your list, I was putting all the emphasis on. Okay, so these are the top focuses. Okay, let me ask you the questions, or let me figure out how I can support you for your priorities. Because this is your life. These are your priorities. Okay, let me support you on those.
It's so refreshing to be with y'all. It reminds me of going back to episode 1, like, what cup can I pour into today? How can I pour into you today? And I really resonate with a billion things you said. And I even take it as like, meeting people for the space that they're in. And even when we're, empowering people or encouraging people or coaching people, we're all leaders here. But it's like, if someone doesn't have a plan to elevate or to grow, and we're putting all this pressure to elevate and grow these people, you're essentially doing it in vain. And we're stressing ourselves out to get something accomplished that person or that thing doesn't even want to be accomplished.
Right. Or maybe they do, but just not in that order.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't know how.
Right.
To accomplish those things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, but the give me something, it's like, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, man, y'all, I'm just sitting here thinking, I just appreciate being in the moment, and I want to rephrase what I said. I'm not even sitting here thinking, I'm just sitting here enjoying this moment, just being present with y'all and listening to the conversation that we're having. One of the things I told Andrea last week, I think it was last week, and maybe even this week, is like, I've really been struggling with stop thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've been trying to be more deliberate and intentional with not thinking, which sounds crazy. It may sound crazy to a lot of people, but like, I think so often, like, it's hard for me to stop. So even like doing kinesthetic dry offs and like, like even going to the shower and doing my affirmations and saying, hey, I'm going into the shower and I'm choosing not to think about anything, but I want to enjoy the water hit my body. I want to enjoy the sound. I want to enjoy the steam and the smell. And I'll do okay, like, for myself for like the first couple minutes, but then all of a sudden I start to think about something and start to think about something. And then I start going somewhere else. And all of a sudden I've been in the shower for 25 minutes, just sitting here thinking about all these things and creating all this energy in myself that I didn't really have to create, but it's something that I did. So I would love, not on pod, but we're friends. I want to get some meditation or some type of professional advice from you.
Well, I have questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, a couple of questions I have right now. Number one is, when you say you want to stop thinking, how long do you want to stop thinking for? Like, in order to count that as I stopped thinking.
I think I want to be more.
How long?
I'd say like right now, like in this moment, this is the most I haven't thought outside of what we're talking about in a long time.
How long do you want to not think?
22 minutes.
And you weren't thinking. How long do you want?
You mean put a time frame on it?
How many minutes or seconds would you like to not think in order to say, hey, I didn't think?
I would like to not think for 2 minutes.
Okay. And so then my next question then is, why? What is uncomfortable? What like, do I want to say what is uncomfortable? I want to say, what things are you experiencing when you are thinking that makes you say, I don't want to think? What is the things you're experiencing?
I love that. So and our viewers know I've been working on being indistractable. I did finish the book, by the way.
Okay.
Finally, indistractable. Holler back. I think that in my focus of being indistractable, somehow, some way, I've lost myself in becoming distracted when I'm in a moment because I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm. So like, you're not being present when you're like physically there, but your mind wanders.
100%.
Okay.
100%.
When you're with other people, or no?
When I'm not working on what most people would say business, I'm thinking about it.
You're thinking about business. Yeah. And you don't want to do that.
Not if it, go ahead. You got something to say?
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that he wants to do that, but he wants to be able to control when he does it.
Okay.
Because when he thinks, he just can't, I don't want to say he spirals, but he keeps jumping down rabbit holes. And then it's like.
So the issue is that you are having a hard time focusing on one thing. Am I understanding that proper?
Would you say that?
At a time.
I would say that, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the issue, so tell me this. So is it that you want to think about nothing, or you want to just think about one thing and stay focused on that to see it through to the end?
That one.
Okay.
That one.
Those are two different things.
I want to focus on one thing
and see it through.
Okay. And can I say something real quick? Mm-hmm. And this even goes back to our relationship with our relationship goals that we've set and doing some different things. It's even, what was it, yesterday or a couple of days ago, when I was like, if we're not talking about doing something within the next 2 days, I don't even want to talk about it. because I want it to be actionable. I want it to be a physical thing that we're going to do, so we can look at and reflect and be like, man, we said we were going to do it, and we did it, and we saw it all the way through.
We were just talking about being busy, but not being productive.
Yeah.
Okay. I got you. Look at.
Oh, snap. Hey. Look at so for the viewers, hold up while you're getting that. So the viewers know we are in a mutual space together with two different screens. So when you see us looking away, we're really looking at each other. Yeah.
Okay, look, I want to just show y'all something. Look at this one. Look at these things, okay?
Yeah.
You know what these are?
It says service.
They're lists.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is because it's for maintenance whenever I do maintenance.
I got you.
But these are just lists. Yeah. They're everywhere. Okay? Yeah. Okay, I want to tell you two things. Number one, I'm reading a book. Everything always comes back to a book.
1,000,000,000%.
I'm reading a book.
1,000,000,000%.
Right now, I'm reading the 10X Rule. Have you read this by Grant Cardone?
10X? Yeah. Okay. I've listened to the audio.
It's a great book.
Yeah.
Okay, so something I want to tell you about this book, and something that I want to tell you about the thought process. Okay, so I think I want to start with the thought process first. Number one, this is just something that I recognized a few weeks ago. When I was in a group, I'm in this group called Focus through the Progress Center for Black Women, right? The Focus group is like a business development group. It really is wonderful, like where it's for people who are in business, already in business, and then in business, like here's my binder, right? Here's my binder. And we identified things like through the workshops, we get to deepen into the business in order to flourish better. There was a marketing workshop. And in the marketing workshop, we were talking about marketing scheduling. Okay, it could have been about anything. But what I was realizing was it's important to have a safe space where you can, say out loud the things that are like holding you back, even if they sound unreasonable or like silly. Once you say them out loud, it's like, wow, like that sounds really like I'm tripping. You know what I mean? Like when you get to say it out loud around your people who are also like-minded entrepreneurs and who also have their own hangups, you say, and it wasn't like we were going in a circle saying the things, but it was kind of like, okay, so are you doing this? Are you doing that? Are you doing this? And I was like, no, I don't do that thing. And she was like, why aren't you doing it? And I was like, and I said why I wasn't doing it. And when I actually said it, because in my brain, it made complete sense. Like I didn't want to do it because I had a real reason for why I did not want to do this thing. Okay. I got all of the ridiculousness out. And then after I got it out, I was like, I guess I could do it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, okay, I guess I can do it. So I've been doing it. Okay. I've been doing this thing. I would say what it is, but it'll take me too long. Okay. So I realized, man, like, that is an important part of the process of getting past hurdles is even having a space to be able to say out loud. You don't even know the things that are like really holding you back in your mind until you say it out, until somebody asks you why why you don't want to do it or why you're not doing a certain thing. And you're actually honest and vulnerable and saying like, I don't want to do it because, and at the root of it, it's like, I'm scared. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So this ties into the 10X rule. Okay. And the 10X rule in the book, of course, there's all of these different principles. Read the book. He didn't sponsor us, but you know what, Grant Cardone, you need to sponsor us. I'm gonna have to ask you for that sponsorship, Grant Cardone. In the 10X rule, he talked about procrastination. And I'm saying this because he talked about procrastination. I'm sorry, I keep spitting on you. Okay. Procrastination, and he also talked about lists. Okay. And I realized one thing is that I make a list every day. And he makes a list. He was like, I make a list every day. I make a list every night. I make the list. And so I set my objectives for the day. And he says in the 10X rule, you always want to, whatever you think you need to do, you want to aim for 10 times higher, right? And you know why, right? You want to aim for more than whatever it is that you actually reasonably think you can do. You know why? Do you remember why he says this? Or do you want me to say?
I don't remember why, but go ahead.
It's better to make, okay, if you make a list that just allows you to just live in, I'm just going to say, because he says in the book to live in mediocrity, right? If you say, hey, I'm going to get up today, I'm going to do 3 things because I know I can get these 3 things done. I don't want to put 5 things on my list or 10 because I'm not going to be able to get them done.
Yeah.
But if you say I'm going to do 3 things, you do the 3 things and you seep into laziness, right? If you say I'm going to do 10 things and you only do 6, you did more than what you would have done if you were living in mediocrity.
I love that.
Okay? Because you're still striving for the 10, and then you also have to be like, hey, Grant Cardone in this book was like, my goal is to get 6 billion people to know my name. Now I don't know how many people are on Earth, somewhere a little over 6 billion. So he's like, it's probably impossible, but if I can aim for 6 billion, I'm going to get more than 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Grant Cardone.
So that's that. The next thing that he mentions in the book is the fear factor, right? The root of a lot of procrastination is either fear or not being properly prepared. Usually you're scared, so you don't want to do it, and then or else you're not properly prepared. So then you let time be your crutch. Okay. This is all answering this thing that you're talking about in a weird way. Okay. So when he was like, okay, if I say to you, for example, like, okay, let me do this for your example, what you're talking about right now, because you're talking about you want to be able to focus, see one thing through to the end. The root of that is kind of you feeling like you're not being productive enough. You're like, man, I'm not accomplishing enough. I'm not being productive enough. Okay. And so your mind is going here, 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 because if something is uncomfortable about just sitting through that one thing through to the end. Now, look, this is not a podcast about edibles, but I know that whenever I eat an edible, I be like, dang, I've seen this thing through to the end. Okay, look, this is not about edibles. Don't eat edibles, y'all. I don't know.
We gonna talk about some of our pies. Remember what I said?
It's like I'd be like, I will stay up till 4 a.m. and finish. I will write a whole book. Okay, and this is not
3
about that. Look, don't
pages
do
of lists.
but listen, I don't eat edibles. Like I've probably done it 3 times. Like,
oh my god.
Okay, listen. In the
Sponsors,
past
where you
12
at?
months. Okay. So anywho, so he was like, time becomes your weakness. And the more time that you put in between the things, the more that builds up, right? The anxiety, there's this. So the answer is to just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. Doesn't matter if you're not properly prepared, because you're gonna analysis paralyze yourself. Okay. You're gonna be like, I gotta get this and I gotta get that and I gotta make sure everything is perfect and just right and You're gonna make process way more complicated, and then it's gonna be a month and it still didn't get done. Whereas if you would have done it in a month, when you would have done day 1, you would have had the repetitions, and the repetitions is gonna improve the quality, rather than having something be perfect that took a month to perfect. You know, that study about those students where the photography, the pictures, the photographers. Do you don't know about the study? It was in Atomic Habits. They gave the students the assignment. They said, okay, you get an A+ you'll pass the class if you have a perfect photo. So one group of students were assigned to take as many pictures as possible. The other group of students were assigned to get 1 picture, and it had to be perfect. They could have the whole 14 weeks to get that beautiful, perfect picture. Who do you think had the perfect picture and got the best grades? The ones who had to take 100 pictures. Because through every repetition, they were able to refine and develop and grow. So do it now, and then just boom, 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 right? And I'm not saying that your issue is that you're having paralysis. But what I'm saying here, to make it all the way wrapped around, that's why I said, how long of this not thinking counts as not thinking? You said 2 minutes would be great. Sounds like you're saying, if I could just focus on one thing for 2 minutes, and then we got into it, and it's like, I just want to follow it through to the end. Okay, cool. One thing through, you might make a list with your things to do today. Every time you get this, that you notice, oh my God, I'm getting distracted. These are meaningless things. Let me come back to my list. Okay. The list is so powerful. Let me come back to my list. And you check, you be like, oh, this is what's in the list. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. Okay. And you choose that one thing, you get done, boom, you mark it off. You're going to get more things done I promise you, every time that I do a list, I get more things done. I feel great when I'm coming back to the list every time I notice I'm distracted. Now, a meditation technique, I got a candle burning over there. A really good way to help focus the mind if the blankness is challenging is to light a candle. Practice, if it's too hard or too much, too challenging, because it is hard to follow the breath, then light a candle and watch the flame. And every time, because in meditation we say like, come back to your breath, come back to your breath. Sometimes that's hard. You can focus on a blade of grass. You can focus on the flicker of the candle. You can look at this here, the peacock feather. Focus on this feather and breathe. Okay? And that is going to be your mindfulness practice. You do this for 5 minutes every day. You're going to notice your focus improves. You're going to notice, oh my God, I could stay with it. But it's hard. It's not easy. It's hard, but it's possible. Okay? You do it every day. They say, come to the same, sit in the same spot for the same amount of time every day for a week, for a month, for a year, and watch your life transform by doing that one thing every day, that mindfulness practice. Okay, I'm done. I'm not saying anything else.
Yo, we just went back to basics with Ruji Wellness and mindful tactics. I love it. I mean, that's what we're all about. We're Good Bad Breakthrough, episode 32.
You ain't got no follow-up? I'm done talking.
Hey, I got plenty of resignations.
Y'all gotta talk.
I got plenty of resignations. But you crushed the game today.
You did.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's not. We can't be just me. So I need y'all needs to. I just nerded out for a good.
Sometimes we do
It's needed.
Yeah, it's definitely needed.
Thank you.
You know what? For all the viewers out there, let me go wrap up. Sometimes you need to talk, and sometimes you need to listen. And we all come together and we talk and listen all the time. And this was a much needed podcast for us as individuals, as friends, where I was very, very satisfied listening. And I appreciate all the coaching and all the feedback you gave, because especially with us being actionable in our relationship right now, there's a few things that we're probably going to take away and talk about next time what we've been doing.
Well, I was just going to ask you, what are you going to take away from what
you want a piece of paper?
Yeah.
I can say that I do create lists at work, but I don't create lists anywhere else. And I am the most productive at work.
Yeah.
Because that is your grounding. It grounds you. You come back to that. That's your centering point.
Yeah.
And your priorities. It also allows you to mind dump, get your anxieties out.
Yeah.
It serves so many purposes. That's why I have to do that.
I definitely want to light the candle and look at the candle for a couple minutes. I'm going to put a timer on it and do it every day so I can get my focus back where I want it to be. And the listings, I'll have you coach me on that.
You should definitely mental dump too. I would try that. I do that from time to time. Not often, but when my brain is working.
Like word throw up?
Yeah, it's just like, let me get everything out.
Yeah. We created, real quick and we'll wrap up, we created a goal chart, and we're not really using the goal chart, but for the simple fact that we created it and it was an intention and now we've been actionable, it's every day has been something different.
Yeah.
And we're focused on it. Even though the goal chart isn't happening, but we created the intention to set a goal.
Yeah.
And again, not knowing how we would get there, now we're here just living through the goal and acting and being intentional with our day.
Yes.
So I'm so happy. I'm grateful. Thank you so much. You could find this episode on all platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts. I love the producer, Amazon Music, Anchor, Pocket Cast, and Audible. Facebook and Instagram. Good Bad Breakthrough Podcast, episode 32. Holla back.
Jason said he like you too. Yes, thank you, Jason. Shout out to Jason, the producer, doing his thing behind the scenes. And y'all, I think that's it. Thank y'all. Thank you for listening, watching, share this episode. Tell somebody who need it, who got kids in college, heading off to college, who's going through transitions. Tell somebody. Share it. Share this show.